If you like American history, please subscribe to our channel and ring that bell so you can be notified when we put up a new video. During the last days of World War II in Europe, a clandestine American military operation was formed in a race for Hitler's secret aviation technology. It was called Operation Lusty. Its mission? Retrieval of Germany's advanced aeronautical technology and world-class scientists. At stake was the future of America's superiority in the air. Next on Mark in History. This is the historical marker for Major General Hal Watson. His marker is located here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. His team, called Watson's Whizzers, were responsible for recovering German airplane technology right after World War II. Watson's role in Operation Lusty helped to accelerate America's jet plane programs and change the look of the United States Air Force. Now, let's learn more about the incredible story behind this marker. During late 1944, there was a new air battle going on across the skies of Germany. In this corner was the American P-51D Mustang, our fastest fighter plane with a maximum speed of 437 miles per hour. Not bad for a piston-engine propeller plane. And in this corner was the Luftwaffe Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter, with a maximum speed of 540 miles per hour. If you're keeping count, this Messerschmitt twin-engine jet was 100 miles per hour faster than our fastest plane. Our fighters just could not match the top speed of the German jets during air battles. However, what the Mustangs lacked in speed was made up with maneuverability against the feared Me-262s. More significantly, Mustang pilots learned to hit the Messerschmitts at their most vulnerable, during takeoff and landings at German airfields. During this time, the U.S. Army Air Force's intelligence service sent secret teams to Europe to gain access to German aircraft and weapons. Intelligence experts developed lists of advanced aviation equipment they wanted to examine, known as the Blacklist. The teams gained information and equipment recovered from German crash sites. As the war concluded in Europe, a new top-secret operation was created. On April 22, 1945, Operation Lusty, short for Luftwaffe Secret Technology, was formed with the aim of exploiting captured German scientific documents, research facilities, aircraft, and scientists. There was an urgency behind the operation because Allied intelligence had discovered the Germans had provided much, if not all, of their advanced technology to their Japanese ally. Adding to the urgency was a competitive Soviet program also intent on capturing German technology and scientists. Operation Lusty had two teams. Team 1, under the leadership of Colonel Harold Hal Watson, collected enemy aircraft and weapons for further examination in the United States. Team 2, under the leadership of Colonel Howard McCoy, recruited German scientists, collected documents, and investigated facilities. Colonel Watson was the perfect candidate to lead a team of test pilots, engineers, and maintenance men into Germany to extract technology. He had graduated with a degree in electrical engineering, worked at the Pratt & Whitney Aircraft Company testing new aircraft engines, and became a military test pilot for the Army Air Corps. Watson was not only a superb pilot, he knew aircraft engines like the back of his hand. Watson's specific task under Operation Lusty was to collect and bring home Luftwaffe technology on the Blacklist. The list included the Messerschmitt 262 twin-engine jet fighter, the German Arado 234 jet bomber, and other unusual aircraft. Colonel Watson put together a highly qualified, hand-picked crew of test pilots and engineers. Because of their immigrant German heritage, many of Watson's American team members could speak the language. They called themselves Watson's Whizzers because they were whizzing around the countryside in German jet fighters. Within days of his arrival in France, Colonel Watson was issued a blue Eisenhower pass. The pass gave its bearer the authority to go anywhere and request assistance from any U.S. or British military command in the execution of his duties. It bore the signature of the Supreme Allied Commander, General Dwight D. Eisenhower. Watson's Whizzers traveled far and wide across Europe by jeep and occasionally by air to find aircraft on the blacklist. Finding working aircraft was near impossible. Either the defeated Germans destroyed their own planes or were destroyed by Patton's troops as they moved through the area. Most were damaged beyond repair. On April 29, 1945, only 3 days after Patton's troops swept through Augsburg, Germany, Colonel Watson drove his jeep into the shattered town. He was looking for the chief Messerschmitt test pilot, Karl Bauer. After showing Bauer his blue Eisenhower pass, Watson made him an offer he couldn't refuse. In the end, Herr Bauer rounded up a total of 25 Messerschmitt mechanics and test pilots to help the Watson Whizzers repair and fly the German jets. The Messerschmitt 262 was a maintenance man's dream. Engines and nose assemblies could be removed and replaced in an hour. The Messerschmitt mechanics were more than happy to show off their technical marvels and to work for the Americans, as this meant they could earn money to feed their families. It also meant a possible ticket out of war-torn Germany. Now Watson had the help he needed to bring Me-262s back to the States. It was dangerous work. The process had to be conducted carefully because booby traps were found. Several Me-262s had explosive devices in their cockpits. On May 8, 1945, VE Day, a Messerschmitt Me-262A jet fighter approached Lager-Lechfeld and wagged its wings in a sign of surrender. The German pilot had no intention of surrendering to Russian troops, so he chose this American-occupied airfield for his final destination. This was the first operational Me-262 jet captured by the Americans. This historic Messerschmitt jet is on display today at the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Several more planes followed. As standard practice, German markings were quickly removed and replaced with the American star. Nazi swastikas were painted over. That way, the Me-262s could be flown unmolested by American fighters. The Luftwaffe jets were painted with new names to keep track of them, like Wilma Jean or Dennis, names of crew family members. Once found, enemy aircraft had to be shipped from Germany to the United States. Fortunately, the British were willing to loan their aircraft carrier HMS Reaper for that purpose. The most viable harbor for docking the carrier and loading the various aircraft was Cherbourg, France. The Whizzers flew the Me-262s and other aircraft from Lager-Lechfeld to Cherbourg. All aircraft were cocooned against the salt water and weather, loaded onto the carrier, and brought back to the United States. Upon arrival, they were studied by the air intelligence groups of both the U.S. Army Air Force and the U.S. Navy. Like the defenders of the Horse Cavalry in 1945, military skeptics were not about to give in to a screaming newcomer like a jet turbine. Best way to convince them? How about an air show? On September 30th, 1945, an air show was put on for 300 U.S. writers, press photographers, and radio men at Freeman Field, Indiana. On display was the usual array of captured German aircraft. Of course, the main attraction of the show was the Messerschmitt Me-262. Colonel Watson gave a spectacular performance in the twin jet engine Messerschmitt. He buzzed the field at incredible speed, bringing the sleek jet down to within 20 feet of the photographers. The crowds loved it. It was just the type of press coverage the Army Air Force needed to keep its program from stalling out. Watson's air shows played no small part in convincing legislators how to vote and where to put their money. Operation Lusty and Colonel Watson's Wizards brought back an impressive inventory of German aviation technology for research study. Their partial list included 10 Messerschmitt 262s, 4 Arado 234 jet bombers, and 3 helicopters. America's jet fighter program made incredible progress, in part from the lessons learned from our German enemies. The Messerschmitt Me 262 influenced the design of our new jet fighter introduced in 1949, the North American F-86 Sabre. The Sabre is best known as America's first swept-wing jet fighter. This is the same aircraft that could counter the Soviet MiG-15 in high-speed dogfights over the skies of Korea. Operation Lusty, with Colonel Howard McCoy and his team, brought back about 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians as part of a secret program he directed called Operation Paperclip. The most famous group was headed by Wernher von Braun, the German aerospace engineer who had led development of the V-2 rocket. After transfer to America, von Braun and his team eventually ended up in Huntsville, Alabama. There, they built the rocket that launched America's first satellite, Explorer 1. This event on February 1st, 1958, signaled the birth of America's space program. Later, von Braun and his team designed and built the giant Saturn V, the rocket that sent Apollo astronauts to the moon. Colonel Watson later became Major General Watson as he continued his pursuit of building a lasting technical intelligence organization for the United States Air Force. Thanks to heroes like Colonel Watson and Colonel McCoy, the impact of Operation Lusty and its recovered German technology reshaped America's Air Force for years to come. If history can be taught with stories, it can never be forgotten. Please like our video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to stay informed on the latest videos. And don't forget to leave your comments below and tell us what you like about this video.